So these journeys are different than what you do when you put your body to sleep at night. Most people grow up on earth without any training or any discipline or any understanding of how to bring back where they go at night when they leave their body. Everyone leaves their body every night. Do you imagine what earth would be like if everybody on the planet understood this right now? They would have the advantage of being helped by beings all over the universe. Master teachers far beyond any that have even appeared on this planet are available to us. This is pretty important because so much that's been shut off, where people have been compelled to be afraid to remember for one reason or another, is turned back on. And the journeys become deeper and wider, and your confidence in exploring the multiverse becomes more tangible to each person. There's dormant faculties of the Atma that haven't been used in all of you for billions of years. That's a long time. And this is some of them shut down or forgotten or lost long before you were ever captured and planted and put on earth. So these journeys help to recover much more of that. Secondary implants are out of the way, great. Primary implant, at some point we will go and view it, because then you'll know what it is that puts you on earth.
Scott, sorry to interrupt, but first I would like to welcome everybody, and I'd like you to say why we are all here to go on the journey together. So others later on when they watch our video, so they understand what we are doing and they might want to
That's a
join
good
us.
idea, Pari. Yeah, if you guys want to volunteer that, why are you here? What motivated you? How about
Anyone
you,
want
Buck? How about you? What motivated you?
I'm curious.
Yeah, just turn on your.
Oh my God. Yes, okay.
Luck, can you hear us?
Yes, yeah,
What
I'm
motivated you?
I'm interesting.
You find it interesting.
Yes. Mhm.
It's a little more than information. This is far beyond just getting information, as you know. It's experientially based. But that's up to each person to discover that for themselves.
Juan, would you like to share?
Yeah, I think that because we have been struggling in this world for a long time, and we know we were born and then we died and then we reincarnate, because as a Buddhist we believe that we have the incarnation, so we don't know where to go after death. So this for this it's like for me when I discover this path. So I feel that I'm very lucky, very fortunate to know this path, so that I will know how to go back to the real home, to the source, and then to help other peoples as well.
That's why you're all here, really. I mean, we live and we exist to become co-creators with that source. The only way we can do that is to know the source directly, to experience it. That's very important. These journeys provide the doorways through which you travel to experience it, to remember it, to wake it up in your being. That's pretty rare, and I feel fortunate and grateful just to be able to do this and to help people on earth with friends from out of town, from off-world, to go through these journeys. Eventually, you'll be catching on to how to do them yourself. And you have people that I introduce you to that need to be respected. They need to be, because that's what divine love is, respect for others, all life. To have a greater freedom out in the multidimensional creation, we also have to become re-familiar with all the life that is out there, because most of it's far more advanced than we are on earth. What about someone else? Anybody want to share why they came here? Similar reason or?
Can I?
And Sophie, yes, okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. There's a first. We've met before, so
Yes, we have.
There was a first time, so there always got to be a second one, right?
Yes.
So my brother here informed me and the whole message room that he was forced by his mom. So I laughed a bit. I laughed a bit. Now, yeah, I kind of invited him, but like his mom is very excited to well, as he said, invited him to be here. But at least I convinced him. You could say I convinced him, so he might, get the new stuff, get into new stuff,
Has he
discovering stuff.
has he ever read a book or watched any of the guided journeys on my YouTube channel or Pari's?
He did.
Okay, good. Well, that's the main thing for journeys. So he has a little bit of a grounded basis for going out and experiencing things. The same thing holds true for these journeys that secondary implant removal people do. A man and a woman, generally a couple, is assigned to each of you to help make sure your primary implant is off. And so you can go on the journey and not have fear go with you, because fear cannot go into the hue. You can't take fear with you into the hue. There's no negative nature in the hue. So we don't bring it with us. These beings, part of their service is to make sure you don't have any negative influence from subconscious things. And that way, when you go out with them, you can experience this and you see this in your imagination, because the imagination is not something in your brain. The brain doesn't create imagination. You do, through the brain, through the pineal gland. And you transmit the visuals of what you see into the consciousness of your human self. It isn't what people think. This is one of the things that really needs to be changed in people on Earth. They need to understand how they daydream, what daydreaming is, when they imagine going to the beach or a store, anywhere, leaving their body, going to another planet. They're actually seeing into some reality in the multidimensional creation, because the omnipresent power, the hue that we're made of, we're connected together through it. And we can see anything, anywhere, be any place in that creation. As long as we can visualize it, as long as we know what to see that's located somewhere else. Fear is the one thing that keeps people from remembering how to see places they knew, places they've been, lives they've lived, other dimensions they've lived on. It's just subconsciously implanted fear that drives people afraid to realize this, to remember how to do this. So when we go on these journeys, what they're doing is giving you back the ability to see things. I guide these things, and I'm well experienced and well qualified to, in order to show you things in various locations in the multiverse, particularly places above the void. This is important. To go above the void means you're going above all negative nature. It means you're riding the sound of the hue up through the planes. We don't even bother with the astral, causal, mental, and etheric planes. These are dimensions above us, because they have their negative natures too, and they can be a bit of a trap. You can get lost in the phenomena of such places and not make much progress. So we go above the void, we go into Satnam's realm, we go up into the worlds above that, where there is no negative nature, because that's where you all came from originally. So when we start plugging back into that, we're actually putting our feet in a huge ocean of pure sound and light, getting our toes in it, see if it's warm or cold. Eventually you'll be out swimming in that ocean with nothing under your feet to support you, because the Atma floats in the hue, just like planets and galaxies do. And then you get more comfortable with this, and you're able to actually go out into the depths of that ocean, which is the ocean of sound and light. That is far above the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, because you all came from there originally. We all did. So you might as well begin to remember this, because down deep underneath it all, we're meant to return to the source behind all life and contribute our unique nature as an individual, as an Atma, to that source, to help change things. It's relying on us to come back to that source to do that, or nothing in the lower worlds ever changes. So that's how important this is. You guys have any questions about this? Any at all? Perfectly good time to do it before we go on the journey. Everybody's clear on this so far? Okay, that's good. The real key to all of this is the ability to see and know things for yourselves in the other realities. If you're a writer, if you're a composer, if you work in business, or you're a Buddhist monk, they too need to know what's above the void, because it isn't the realm of the Supreme Being. It is a pure realm of the hue, yes, but it's a barrier between the upper realities and the lower planes of time and space and matter and bodies and DNA and that kind of thing. And because it's above that, when we go there, we mix it up with beings who live there, beings who travel the universe, who have not the kinds of problems we have on Earth, who don't have subconscious minds. And when they mix this up with us, it rubs off on us. We begin to pick up on it telepathically until it is awakened in ourselves. These beings teach by direct example, by their presence. They don't teach on a blackboard in a schoolroom at a college. That's not how they function, and neither should we. All of you have had, if I was to tell you the truth, you've had more than hundreds of PhDs of training in other lives and other realms before this life on Earth. And all of you were far more advanced in those lives than you are now. Since there were your lives and your higher faculties were turned on in many of them, you have a right to reacquire them. You have a right to embrace your own nature. This should be obvious to anybody. You all know something's not right with planet Earth or its people. Everybody on this journey knows it well. That's why you're here, because you want to get free of that negative influence and embrace a co-creative place with the source behind all life. Because once you begin to do that, there's no going backwards. There's no reversing this. The hue will work with you to bring you home. That is what it does. When we plug into the omnipresent hue, the first sound behind creation out in space, outside of Earth's negatively charged atmosphere with all the negative things still recorded there, then we plug into the direct hue and things start to change from there. So that's clear to everybody, I think. It is for me the same as it is for you. My skill or special skill, working with beings that trust me and I trust them from outside of this earth, they are beginning to intervene in the affairs of Earth, but only to a limited degree. This means they're keeping us from blowing ourselves up. Somebody tried that just recently in the last week and it didn't work. The launch computers were shut down from space. They are not allowed to do that. This is very fortunate for us. We'd all be gone. So they don't want to run governments here. They don't have any desire for something like that. But they do want to wake people up and get them free of fear so that they can begin to work together as one people and join a much larger organization of world systems. And that's just for the physical universe, part of it. You know, where bodies are, even on other planets. The more important background work that's being done on these journeys has to do with helping you connect to the source you came from. There's more to awaken than just how you became on Earth with no memory. That's just the beginning. More of it has to do with what you knew and what you understood, the vastness of life you've lived in other realities on so many countless lives. Most of them much, much longer lifetimes than you can have on this planet. It's better that we wake this up a little at a time and be comfortable with it, because it will affect everything you do, all your creative work, everywhere you go from now forward. is tuned to a powerful, omnipresent living energy. We always were tuned to it, but if we're unconscious about it and we have subconscious fear about it, then we're just stuck thinking we're bodies on earth, right? We're not. We've never been a body. We aren't one now. We run them like masters. It's very complicated to run a human body. Extremely. And most people take it for granted. Billions of people do it. But they don't remember how they're doing it or why. So these journeys have come into existence. I didn't ever plan on guiding such things many years ago. This is something that unfolded and evolved as I progressed with this work until it became clear to me that it was necessary for me to begin to guide people in this way, to help them see things they can't see for themselves yet because of subconscious fear, bad habits, lifetimes old, not just this life. So all that needs to kind of be put aside. Each person has the courage, each of you has the courage to be here despite a primary implant. Primary implant is how you ended up here with no memory, which involved torture and death for all of us. Remember, you're an Atma, not a body. So what we're doing here is recovering the awareness of what we are that has never been a body. That's what moves around the universe. This is how beings from other worlds move around, even with their advanced space technology. Their ability to control genes and turn them off and on switches in the genome so the telomere in the DNA does not shrink when cells divide. This is simple stuff. For them, it's ancient history. Anti-gravitic propulsion, ancient history. It's not new. Getting rid of diseases on planets, it's old stuff. Except for people on Earth. People on Earth, through fear, block what could have transformed this planet 70 years ago already, including government people. Fortunately, what we call disclosure has begun in the United States for the first time in 70 years, officially. Interviewing people that worked in spaceships, that found bodies, that recovered craft, that reverse engineered things. All true. They're beginning to tell the truth about it. That's a good start. True disclosure is not telling people extraterrestrials exist. They could tell you that and still keep everything secret and abuse the world. True disclosure is something that happens on a planetary scale, whereby every single living being on the planet knows it without a doubt. That's true disclosure. Then beings, even if it scares them to death, can invite ships from all over to come and land here and help fix this place, because it is very broken. The air is polluted, the water is polluted, government people are making decisions based on subconscious fear, so are religious leaders. And so Earth remains like it is. The reason is simple. Fear is negative. If you're subconsciously influenced from fear to make decisions, it's going to be the wrong decision every single time without question. Fear creates a repercussion in space-time, in the omnipresent you, in the physical universe. It can only come back in a negative way. So we see wars upon people making decisions based on fear. And then you see the condition of the earth is why it is. It's purely reciprocal. The universe mirrors what people do in mass on this planet. If there wasn't a thing called grace, meaning beings that intervene at least like master teachers to a degree to help you all, you'd never survive stepping into getting implants removed in the first place. They have to be shut off so you can go out and then see people help you see into them and remove them. I would love to be able to guide each person one-on-one in those things forever. But in practical terms, I couldn't do an hour-and-a-half journey of secondary implant removals for 10,000 people, or 100,000, or 1 million. There isn't enough time in a lifetime for one person to do that. So we're going to try to head this towards group secondary implant removal journeys. Not even sure how to do that yet, but it's coming up. And then the group journeys, because then many more people can go on the same journey, experience the same connection to the hue, have the same guides assigned to them. There are millions of people like Shantiel and Tonaltiel and Dantiam and Lamtiam out in the Galactic Alliance that could be assigned to each and every person on this planet. Without that, we don't have a ghost of a chance in hell of recovering who we are. We need friends from other worlds and other realities to help us through this, because subconscious fear is a bugger. It's hard to deal with it for anyone. So we have to have people that know the technology and the spirituality. They have the advanced state of consciousness to be able to get out of their own bodies and come, turn off the implants we have, and then guide us on these journeys, be with us on these journeys. So that's my point, the reason I'm here. When you imagine someone you love and respect, you're grateful they're in your life. It can be a person, a place, or a thing, a waterfall, a hummingbird, a baby's smile, whatever. Something you love doing. But it needs to be genuine. It just means that when you imagine it, it makes you feel good inside, makes you smile. This technique opens a doorway through the pineal gland in the center of the human brain. It's like a gland that has these different rods and cones in it, like a human eye. It's filled with a liquid. And each of those rods and cones are turned to a different frequency, a different plane, a different reality. That's so we can bring back awareness of what we're doing on these journeys to the physical body and lifetime personality we have on Earth. It has to be done by each one of us. When I guide these journeys, with great assistance from many other beings, I describe for you, but not in like information on a blackboard. I share with you telepathically what it is we're seeing. Not everything that's out there, because we wouldn't have time to verbally share it all that way. But most important things, grounded things on other planets, other realities, points along the journey up through the higher planes that will change lives, that make a difference. Divine love that people call on Earth when they don't know what it is, it's not praying to someone or a savior or anything like that. Respect for these beings is necessary, but it's about respecting other beings. We cannot claim to embrace a bigger God and know the source and become a co-creator with it, just knowing the pitiful little amount of life that's on one planet. We need to branch out and expand out and recover our ability to see and know life all over the multidimensional creation. Why? Because a long time ago, you could all do it very, very well. This is not the first time you've crossed paths with the hue, and it's not the first time you cross paths with waking up higher faculties. Ability to see and know things out there among the stars and in the higher dimensions is something you carry with you. It's something you already have. It's not something I can give you. It's not something God can give you or a master teacher. You are already it. You already have this in the structure of the Atma itself. Waking up those teardrops on the different levels of your being is what these journeys are all about. Those are higher faculties. The different colors and the different bands around the core of the white being of the Atma are tuned to different dimensions. You have lives in all of them recorded in those teardrops. The only thing that keeps anybody from going into them is fear of some kind. Secondary and primary implants the secondary implants are artificially implanted. Terror, torture, death, they're nonsense. That's why we don't look into them. We just stop them. You look into the life behind it, and they're disintegrated. The awakened life is yours. Always was. Once those effects are gone, you'll find, as we all do, that we have a certain kind of ability to master any form of negative nature, any form of negative technology. We have this ability as Atmas. We come from the source. The source is master over all the lower worlds of time and space. We're supposed to be the same way. We're supposed to know and work with beings who know this stuff. Because this is an English guided journey, I don't always have the time to speak as comprehensively about this as we're doing now. This is why we wanted to start the English speaking ones as well and continue the Thai ones also. It gives people the opportunity to rediscover how to know things, how to travel, how to be confident for themselves about their abilities as an Atma, spherical being. People blab out soul all day long all over the world, soul this, soul that, in religions and all that, but they don't know what it is. It's just something that they think they're a body and they've got this thing called soul stuck in their back pocket or stuffed in a suitcase somewhere, or something they're supposed to recover later. This is backward thinking. We are the Atma and we run bodies. This is correct thinking. Just knowing that will change a person forever. It gives a person the ability to have the courage. It innately dwells within us to travel back to source. That is what we're supposed to be doing while we're running bodies. Traveling back to source on the hue. It is that omnipresent living energy that's out in space that appears black in a Hubble Space Telescope image, but it's not. It's not black at all. It just looks that way to the limits of human eyes and human bodies on Earth. It isn't. So advanced scientists on Earth know that it's not dark matter as they used to think or anything else. They do know it is not atomic or nuclear in nature. It does not observe the laws of physics. It is an omnipresent power that is throughout the creation that supports little things that float in it, like galaxies and planets and moons and suns and stars and us. They create electromagnetic fields made out of the hue that surrounds their shape, like a moon or a planet or a sun or a galaxy. Those electromagnetic fields, like the one around the entire Milky Way galaxy, looks the same as it does around the Earth or the moon or the sun or each of us as an Atma. It's out in those fields of energy which fear programs are placed, never in the Atma itself, which means you as the Atma have never been implanted. That's not possible. The Atma is not made of lower plane energy of time and space. It can't be implanted. So tyrants get around this by placing it in the electromagnetic field that surrounds you, what people call the aura. It's just higher science, but it's the misuse of science. What was done to people that are on Earth today is no longer taking place, not even in our galaxy. The effects, the negative effects, remain in people on Earth for now, but they're not destined to always have those subconscious problems. We are not meant to have a subconscious mind at all. Think about that. Why would anybody want something subconscious? They're not aware of what's in there. If somebody puts something there, you don't know it. Subconscious minds are artificial. They are not a natural or normal part of the Atma. Fear is also not a natural human emotion. It's artificial as well. Imagine someone you respect and love. You're grateful they are in your life, a person, place, or thing, but something that makes you smile. Then realize your body is already in the trance state called sleep. This isn't words like I'm sharing information on the internet with you. This is telepathic. What is telepathy? Let's break it down. If you look at the dictionary definition of it, they try to lump it in with psychic things because they don't know any better. It isn't. Psychic energy works with the positive and negative forces of energy in the lower dimensions of time and space, and it is unreliable and untrustworthy because it swings from one pole like a wave to another. One day you're on the positive side, the next day you're on the negative side. So we want to get into the energy that is behind and supporting the dual energy in the lower worlds. This is what we're doing when we go out in space and plug into the U. Out in space, what people that are most advanced scientifically call zero-point or toroidal energy, the energy of the universe. Other races from other planets and other galaxies and other dimensions understand that power. It is a non-nuclear, non-atomic living force. And if we want to get around the universe faster than the speed of light, because there is no limit to it, then concepts that limit that, ideas that prevent us from exploring it, have to be dropped, because there is no limit to the speed of light. It does not take billions of years for the light from other galaxies to reach us like you're taught in school. This is wrong. It's wrong in every way. The hue is what supports all that out there in space. And it has no limits, such limits. There are no limits like this. So people can build technology and crafts that channel that energy that's non-nuclear, non-atomic through their engines and get around the stars much faster than the speed of light, go through interdimensional doorways, and travel the multiverse. I think this is important because this is telepathic, that this is awakened in you before we even get out in space. Because then you'll be carrying that awakened awareness with you on the journey. The importance of that is simple. We bring it back with us and download it into our bodies on this earth. And that changes us permanently. Expands consciousness, drops more fear, and we move ever onward and upward. Your bodies are in the trance state called sleep. That doesn't mean that if you hear something outside, that's okay. You're running a body with perceptions open when it's asleep. So you can hear danger or a thunder or an earthquake or something like this. But when you're still and protected as you are now, then the body can go to sleep and you can stay awake. You, the Atma, can be aware. This is how we begin to rehabilitate the ability to leave the body at will and know things. Because we do it anyway. When the body stops working and dies, you got to leave it permanently. Can't take anything with you except you and the consciousness you have. So we don't want to take fear with us of any kind when this body stops working. And we want to know what it looks like to travel out into the universe to these planets and other dimensions, particularly above the void, because then our opportunity is when the body stops, that's where you go. The opportunities to develop and co-create with Source above the void are unlimited. This is how we begin to change the way the lower worlds of time and space are run. They've been misrun, in a sense, for billions of years. The old failed experiment of good and evil. Whoopie-doo, that did about nothing for anyone except trap them. So to change anything down here, we have to first change it within ourselves, up where there is no negative nature. Think about it, it makes perfect sense. You're all near the ceiling where you live, hovering, looking down on your body. This is just daydreaming, folks. Everybody knows how to daydream going to the market, and the body follows. You get in the car, you get on a bike, you go to the store. People are not trained to do this to go out into the universe. They don't grow up knowing this. Not your parents, not religious leaders, political leaders, even most gurus don't know this. So you're not taught it. Fear keeps them from being able to promote it if they do know it. See the problem? Very clever, very diabolical. What was done to everybody is over. It can't be done to you again. The effects remain and need to be neutralized. That's what these journeys are for. When you're near the ceiling, you're going to see a man and a woman about 6 feet tall standing beside you. There's an Atma above them, just like there is above the body you're showing them. The body you have looks to be about 36. Doesn't matter if you're younger or older than this, honor it. Mature but young, vital, healthy, trim, beautiful, handsome, perfect. This is how we show ourselves to each other when we're out of the body as an Atma. The Atma is round and spherical. Yes, we recognize each other as individuals as an Atma, but the convenience of having a body made of energy that looks human, that's flawless, is the most practical way for us to show ourselves to each other, because Atmas are telepathic. This means that a pure form of communication exists between us as Atmas through the omnipresent living power, which is non-nuclear, non-atomic, has no limits, and it provides a certain protection for those who go on a journey in the hue. Its purpose is simple. When you're ready, when you're courageous, it begins to take us back to the source from whence we once came, a very long time ago. All of this negative stuff is reversible. The man and woman beside you have long hair, because generally a lot of beings from other worlds in the galactic lines have long hair to their shoulders. Some don't have any hair at all. Some have beards. Beings are human, humanoid, and other races that are bipedal, that walk around with 2 legs and 2 arms, but they're not human. And the Atmas that are very advanced running their genetic forms are very advanced. They grow up on worlds getting out of their body, running around in spaceships, but they're not limited to the ships that their bodies are in. They get out of them and help us on these journeys. They're aboard ships that patrol our solar system. It isn't what people think. It's not Star Trek in the future. Radioactive warp core driven spaceships, are you kidding? It's a nice story. I like the films, but it's not the future for people on this planet. Radioactive warp cores are not allowed outside in space in the advanced races. They don't work with dangerous materials like that. They use the source energy itself through the omnipresent hue to power their ships. And that is what they move around in as Atmas when they get out of their bodies. The same thing. Just knowing this will change your life forever. Because believe me when I tell you, most of your fellow human beings on Earth right now haven't got a clue about any of it. Ask yourself why you're here. Why you? Why not the rest of your fellow human beings? How did you have the courage to override a primary implant, which is designed to keep you from ever doing it, and do it anyway? And then have people help shut those off so that you can get the secondary implants removed and go on these journeys. And then at one point, you'll review that life in that primary implant, and it will become nothing more than a memory. And its influence upon your nervous system will be gone. The secondary implant's gone. You already have mastery over the primary implant. It's just losing bad habits to keep looking into it to try to solve the mystery of evil. There is no way to solve it because it's just evil, negative. It has no genius. It's perverted. There's no point wasting time looking into it. It just traps people in endless circles, going around in circles. The only thing we need to know is what is at the core of our being. Self-realization is knowing what you are as an Atma, a spherical being people on Earth call soul. Remembering it. God realization is knowing what your relationship is in purpose with the source behind all life. There is no limits to that. Once you step into that ocean, you go deeper and deeper into it, down under it, out into the center of it. There's no negative nature in it whatsoever. In reality, there's no negative nature in us. It's external to us in the field of energy around us through which we see the universe, misdirected. If it's subconscious, it means you're not aware it's affecting you. We're not supposed to have subconscious minds. When we go on these journeys, The primary hue itself flows through you, through your body out into the world. You become boots on the ground. Your presence here helps to change this planet. You are co-creators with the source right now. It's not in the future. It's never in the future. We live in an eternal moment in eternity as Atmas from the source. The source energy above what people call the void has no negative nature. There's no time and space. It's hard for people to conceive of it. Things we find there are held in place by beings. Land masses, buildings, training centers. There's no moons, no suns, no stars there. Because everything there radiates its own light. This is important to know. The plants, the trees, the birds, the people running bodies all radiate their own light. And planets and moons and suns and stars are not necessary. Gravity as we know it down here is not necessary. Beings up there who manifest physical looking forms and walk around and talk with each other, they are not DNA bodies. They are not made of atoms. They are not nuclear. They are made of the pure omnipresent power. It was there before the lower worlds of time and space were even built. And so were you. What does that mean? When you look at a picture of the Atma on the front of the Emerald Doorway book, which is the first time it's being shown to people on Earth in millions of years, you're actually looking at what you look like. It's a beautiful thing. That's what's made in the image of the source, not a physical body on Earth. They got that all wrong too. It's backwards. Thinking like that keeps people grounded in materiality, to things they can't keep, to short lifetimes they can't carry on past a point. Each one of you have lived for thousands of years in body forms and other planets before this short life on Earth. It's important to know this, or you're just never going to remember it. The sound is the first thing that manifests. You find yourselves at 10,000 meters in the atmosphere. There's a man and a woman beside each of you. They have Galactic Alliance uniforms on. But don't think of them as extraterrestrial aliens. Most of them are human for your benefit, but not humans from Earth. They weren't born on Earth. They do not have subconscious minds. They were never implanted. They cannot be manipulated. They cannot be controlled by people's selfish interests on this planet. They do what they do of free will, and they're here to benefit you. All that is required is that you respect this work and respect them. That's it. That's the only thing you have to do for them to help you to move forward. That's divine love. That's exactly what it is. Respect for all life. To be able to do that, we have to know all life in the multiverse. It's required of us. The Atma can understand and comprehend all the life that's out there. A physical life and body and personality in one brain in one lifetime cannot do that. So what we're doing is bringing back enlightenment and higher awareness and expanded consciousness to the body and lifetime we found ourselves stuck in this time on Earth. We don't ascend to some other heaven. We bring that heaven here, and then we have the ability to move between these planes without fear, all the way to source and back and everywhere in between. That's how we're supposed to be living as individual Atmas. So if I ask you before we go further how old you are, don't think in terms of the limited life you have on Earth. That's wrong. You're as old as creation itself. In fact, we are older than the moons, the suns, and stars and galaxies. We are Atma. We are comprised of the same source energy exactly. Now, we've been here since before the worlds of time and space were created. This also means that we're responsible for what is going on where we find ourselves. We can't blame a devil or a Satan or someone else. We all had a hand in creating it the way it is. And if we want to change it, we have to do our share to co-create that change. That's why these journeys take us above the void. Now, I can say this to you all now in this English journey. It's probably been said 100 ways through Pari translating things, who does a great job with this. But when it can be said in English, more gets across to you. I do not yet have awakened the ability on earth in this body to speak all languages. When I'm out in space among friends from out of town, I can do that. What you don't realize is when we're out there and I'm speaking English, the beings around you are speaking Thai and English and Galactic Standard at the same time. You all have the ability to understand this when you're out of the body in space with no negative energy around you. Each one of you will experience a man and a woman beside you. Chantal and Tonaltial are beside me. Dantiam and Lamtiam are beside Pari. These are people you've met before. Just two couples out of many. So each of you have a couple assigned to you that are just as experienced, just as advanced, just as free from fear, just as capable of keeping your primary implant off. And they do an exceptional, unflawed job of doing it. We have to respect such beings. They're not putting themselves above us. They know what our potential is. They used to know us as family and friends a long time ago, and we disappeared from them. This has to be recovered. It's part of the journey. We find ourselves in space around Ambassador Turellian. That's easy. You just daydream it. Daydreaming doesn't come from your brain on Earth. That's asleep. The eyes are closed. All light from the negative atmosphere is shut off, and another inner vision is opened up. This is automatic. Down deep, you all know it. But you've never been taught it growing up, so why as adults should you know anything about it? And if fear is in the way of you recovering your awareness that you once knew how to do this very, very well, then the fear has to be stopped first. Common sense. Turellian is showing you a body form 18 feet tall. He does it every time. Think about this being. Why would he volunteer to be on these journeys every time? Does he have to do it? No. Is he compelled to do it from the way he's awakened as an advanced masterful being? Yes. It is what beings who have awakened or are master teachers come into an understanding. There's nothing else to do in creation except help other people get free and help change the way the worlds are run. This is our job. You are not alone in this. Beings from other worlds in the billions are involved in this process now in a new way for the first time. They didn't intervene in planets before. They've let planets blow themselves up before in the past. Maldek is a planet that existed as a living, thriving community of 3 billion people between Mars and Jupiter in our solar system and was blown apart from the inside out, killing everyone on it instantly. The Galactic Alliance did not intervene back then, millions of years ago. And they've been paying for it ever since. This means they should have. They had a law of non-intervention, which you hear in Star Trek or some of these other TV shows that people have picked up on the inner, brought back from the dream state in the morning, not realizing where they got it from. But the real reality of it, and the reason Turellian's out here, is because as the oldest human race, the Say race, they were 18 to 25 feet tall. They didn't even evolve on this galaxy. They brought many of the races that traveled the stars in many galaxies from the astral through all the physical universes up to spacefaring capability and then vanished as co-creators with the source, let's say. This body he's showing you 18 feet tall, that's blonde to his shoulders, big blue eyes, bigger than a human's on earth, but beautiful. Looks like a Greek god in a white gown, bare feet with his two hands up, with a white golden light around his thumbs. You can see a shaft of white golden light coming down through the top of his head and out his hands. And then there's an oval sphere of light around us that's brighter form of the hue than what exists in space around us. That means we're being plugged into the source energy directly, bypassing the lower planes of time and space. Plugged into the true source from the white core of our being. This is why he does this. He does not fatigue. He does not get tired. He's showing you a body made of energy. It is not human. It's not DNA. It's not molecules. 1 billion years ago, they immortalized their bodies, the entire Ceres race, by dematerializing it, storing it in one of the teardrops in the golden layer around the white core of their being. When they want to manifest a form like he's showing you now, they draw upon the omnipresent power. It fills that form instantly, and you can see him. You could even touch him. If he walked on earth, you could walk up and touch him. But he doesn't have the burden of pushing a body around or feeding it or taking it to the bathroom. Most of the human races on other worlds are more advanced, 4-stranded DNA, not 2. The beings who are around each of you, the man and the woman, these couples, I've left their bodies on a ship while others run the craft. They put those bodies to sleep in the trance state in order to join us, to be effective as Atmas with other Atmas. This is something spaceships cannot do. The spaceships can't even go into the astral plane from the physical universe. There's 144 parallel dimensions in the physical universe. They cannot go into the astral plane. You have to go out of your body, go to the body you have there, which you have, and get on ships made out of astral matter, and so forth, on up through the planes. No physical form whatsoever, human or otherwise, even etheric, can be taken into the void. It is a barrier. Only the Atma can travel through the void back to the source. Only the real you and me and Pari can do this. Bodies don't go there. They're made out of molecules of parallel dimension on which the planet where you find yourself. You have never been a physical body, nor are you one now. It's probably the most important thing I can share with you telepathically out in space, around Turelian, while that energy is coming down from the source itself, through the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, through Satnam's realm. True name, first personification, anybody will see in a human-like form is Satnam. People on Earth only don't even know he exists. They once did. This is important. It just means true name, first sound. It's a personification of a being, represents the first sound behind creation. And he runs the Atma plane. That is the first major division above the void. Not in it, not below it, above it. The sound of a high note of a flute is often heard when you approach this realm. It permeates your being. It gets into the white core of our being and radiates out through the layers, vibrates the body in a trance state back on Earth. We're going on a journey, and when we come back, we're bringing back down through the planes where you have body forms you're running you don't yet know about. Etheric, mental, causal, astral, and physical. Each Atma runs 5, one on each division, which is why you have the different colors in the layer around the Atma. We are multidimensional capable beings. When Trillion's done showing you a body, he puts it away. It just vanishes. He stores it. What he's doing is teaching. Not on a blackboard, not information on the internet. He is demonstrating how he is. He has a consort, a significant other named Sarana standing beside him, which recently started coming on these journeys. I never knew this before a few weeks ago. These are beings who have given up physical forms like bodies a billion years ago. And they've returned along with a new kind of energy running through the omnipresent power from the higher worlds to begin to change things for the first time in several 100 billion years. And we're right smack dab in the middle of it, at the front of it. There's like a wave of energy flowing through our solar system, but it doesn't go back and forth like good and bad and up and down and evil and good and all that. It just moves one way. There are master teachers here with us, Ramu. He's been described many times. Standing in the circle of all of us. Maroon robe, short crop, close crop, black beard and black hair, swarthy skin, looks like he's Tibetan, but he's not. Holding this 6-foot-tall crystal clear staff that's glowing, has the Egyptian symbol for eternal life on top, a cross with a vertical oval hole. It's his trademark. The body he's showing you looks to be about 36. It lives in a city called Agamdes. It's in the third higher parallel dimension of the physical universe on planet Earth, but not the Earth you're familiar with. The universe is big. There are 144 parallel dimensions of the physical universe that craft can travel between. And then there's the astral plane. These are major divisions of dimensional creation. The most important one is what we are when we are in the upper realities. The key to access waking up and journeying to such places is the hue, first half of the word human, hidden in plain sight. Because it is structured that way in the beginning, before the lower worlds were built. When we start crossing paths with it again, it begins to draw us upward and onward. It's the best thing I can say to any of you ever. We are tested in a way by the omnipresent power to see if we're worth it, if we're worthy, if we have enough love and respect for all life to go the journey, to become co-creators with the source as we are meant to be. That is the destiny of all living beings running bodies, including those Atmas running animal bodies. Make no mistake about it. They are Atmas as well. People in other worlds do not live like people on Earth live at all. They are very, very different. They don't have negative subconscious influences. So it makes sense that such beings would be the teachers for us by simply being there. That's what Ramu's doing. The body he has in Agamdes is 500 years old, unaged. It's immortalized in a different way. Master Pelham is out further in space, standing there. He's from a planet Oceanus on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, in the third higher parallel dimension. This means craft of the Galactic Alliance can travel between these dimensions in the physical universe. The Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds has more than 450 million spacefaring races as members. On Earth, people haven't got a clue of any of this yet. They are destined to. not because of anything they can do on Earth collectively. People on Earth are far too shut down to save themselves from their own self-annihilation. This is a fact. Governments making decisions based on fear, which they can't help, would have destroyed us in nuclear war in 1950 if they were allowed to get away with it. They weren't, fortunately. Out in space, in this pure hue, these things can be shared with you, because once they are, you can never forget them. This is good. Pelham is blue, pale blue skin, jet black hair to his shoulders, emerald green eyes, holds up his hands, both of them, there's webs between his fingers. He's showing you a body, a physical form of a man about 6 feet tall. Slightly pointed ears, Galactic Alliance uniform. He and Turellian were two beings that sponsored the beginning of the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds over 500,000 years ago. The body he's showing you exists on Oceania, unaged in 500,000 years. That's a different type of immortalization. All that is the telomere on the end of their 4-stranded DNA, because of their advanced science, is turned on so that it doesn't shrink when cells divide. When the telomere shrinks when cells divide, that is what people on Earth call aging. It is also not right. It is not normal. Beings who know how to get in and out of their bodies and what they are choose to leave a body behind after thousands of years and go do something else. They don't die in terror or frightened of death or any of that nonsense. Out here, none of you can forget this. Not anymore. The hue works one way through us, only one way. If you look around us in this circle of beings around Turellian, Etta and Din are hovering above Ambassador Turellian. There's a spherical Atma hovering above the form he's showing you, just like you are hovering above the form you're showing all of us. Flawless, perfect. It's made of energy. It is the prototype of humans that you use to make and mock up having bodies. In a normal way, you would do this without being unconscious or stuffed in a body with no memory. See the difference? Very different. There are 12 ships in an orbit around the sphere of beings, the circle of beings around Turellian. They are 30 feet in diameter. They are made of a blue-gray metal, or metallic-like. 3 half-sphere, semi-spheric pods underneath, and a blue anti-gravitic light around their hulls. You can see 4 couples right through the hulls of these ships, standing. 3 couples are behind a semicircular control console with crystalline faceted luminous controls. They see you. They see you in there, hovering above their physical bodies, piloting the ships. There's a couple in the back, asleep on a couch-like thing. They are the man and woman standing beside each of you. The Atma's hovering above the form they're showing you, just like you're showing them. This is how we begin these journeys. They are helping you by keeping your primary implant turned off for the journey. It's very simple. Out in space, I begin to send out the hue. When you look at space, it doesn't appear black to you like you see in an outer space picture with all these things floating in it. It appears like an omnipresent white golden light everywhere. Between the planets, the moon, the suns, the stars, the galaxies, and it goes up through all the planes. It is one living power. It has a sound in the physical universe like rumbling thunder, but it's gentle and uplifting, no lightning. It pervades all around us. There will come a time, and mark my words, when you will begin to hear this around you on earth when you're walking down the street, things change then. There are places on earth where this hue energy is stronger, doorways between the planes. You've heard of them. These are conduits like generators that generate a higher form of the hue into a lower one to support different dimensions. There are beings called silent mentors who people on earth have no clue exist. The Galactic Alliance is just recently mostly aware of them. They run the mechanics of creation. They're like super Atmas, 4 times bigger than us and twice as many teardrop layers. They have unlimited freedom in creation. They have no fear. They do not sleep. They do not eat. They do not get tired. They don't get fatigued. They keep in place moons and planets and suns and stars and galaxies and doorways and portals between dimensions, the void, the Satnam's realm, everything, the Hue Expansionary Academy. They're part of it. They've recently begun to be involved in this teaching process with human beings for the first time. This takes place in the Hue Expansionary Academy as Beyond the Void. These beings are too powerful to appear on some place like Earth. Their energy is so great that it would just melt you into a pile of powder. They're very, very careful about how they do their work. They could appear as a bottle cap on your kitchen table and carry out some mission you wouldn't even know they were there. That's freedom. When we experience such beings, they're simply demonstrating our potential. High above Ambassador Trellian are 2 beings in space, standing in space. Satnam is one. He's about 36, bald, looks like somebody from India, but he has golden round eyes. 2 gold bracelets on his upper arms, bare-chested, strong, perfectly ripped. Little tunic dress from his waist down to his bare ankles. He's just observing us. And above him is the top silent mentor. I cannot tell you his name because that's something you must find out yourself. That's why they're called silent mentors. Their purpose is to blend and to help beings evolve like us to be a kind of a mix between a silent mentor and a master teacher. This is what's taking place in the Hue Expansionary Academy now. There's a new energy running through the omnipresent power from the upper worlds through the lower planes, and it needs a new administration to help run it. I'll say no more about this for now. That being looks like a man about 6 feet tall with blonde hair to his shoulders, but you can't see any facial features. It's a white light. When you look into it from down here, you look up into his face. It's like you have a telephoto lens, and you can look right into it. But instead of facial features, you see galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies upon levels and doorways between them. That's how they think. There is an Atma hovering above this form he's showing you. It's 4 times larger than us, twice as many teardrop layers, more beautiful. They're just an Atma too. They're here because they're here to express, not on a blackboard, not on the internet, our potential. We become co-creators with Source. Anything's possible. Out here in space, before we go further, in this pure hue, in this vibrant, thunderous sound around us, truth cannot be denied you. It cannot be kept from you. There's no negative nature keeping it from you here. This work that we're doing is watched by classified people. It's good for them too, because they don't want to do what they're doing anymore. They don't want to lie to people. It hurts their health and their family. Government people are operating in fear, religious leaders too. It's for everyone. It's for all life on this planet, but it's not just for planet Earth. If you want to embrace and know what the source or what people call God is, then we have to be able to respect all the life that's out there, because that's where the greater God is, and the omnipresent living energy that supports all of it. People on Earth have been denied knowing this simple truth. I think we should go, Trillion, to the planet Norexilum. This is where I came from before I was stuffed, killed, and stuffed in a body here when it was 3. Believe me when I share with you, it took more than you could comprehend for me to get out of what was done to me and come to this point where I can guide you by choosing to drop revenge and be of benefit to fellow beings, to go home to the source and begin to build the Hue Expansionary Academy with others, because it was a choice I had to make. I didn't hesitate. When we're awake, what's inspired in us to do is to either be stuck in negative nature or demand that what was done to me in another life is paid back by that so-and-so. Somebody, each of us at some point has to let go of that need for retribution. Somebody has to break that karmic chain. We choose to let go first. And we don't care if anybody pays back what they did to us anymore, because we don't need it anymore. We give it up. This is the way that the illusion or Maya is given up. A reincarnation in bodies with no memory, that's karmic. There's negative subconscious nature in that drives us to seek another body with no memory. This has to be let go of. It is done in this way because you're conscious with it. You can do it. You can choose the best choice you've ever made in eternity. Right now is a choice. Without any negative influencing you, fear influencing, you can make that choice instantly, without fear of retribution. There is no God up there that will punish you if you don't do things just right. We do that to ourselves. The source is not a being sitting on a throne somewhere up there. It looks like that Atma behind my head. But it's much, much bigger than individuals like us. It is a type of presence that has all Atmas in creation on all the levels, in a nexus, in a center. And when we plug into that, we have access to the omnipresent wisdom of one living power that we're part of. This cannot help but influence us in constructive, uplifting new ways. The journey we're on right now has never happened before. What is being revealed in this one is unique. Just say the source has shown an interest in you because you've shown an interest in it. Instead of just supporting you in one life after another, it begins to take over managing your training so you can gain freedom back and become a responsible co-creator with it. That is the purpose for our existing. Pretty lofty deal, if you ask me. I'm going to send out the hues, and it's going to link us through, and we're going to go to Nerexlum, then we're going to go up to the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. Because it's necessary. Because it's important. When I'm doing this, if you're paying attention, even if you're not, Terrellian and the other master teachers out here, we're doing it with me, including Etta and Din, including the men and women standing beside each of you, male and female. Did you know that the Atma has a male and female, or female, male or female or male character? One predominates in its being. I have a mix of both. But Atmas are either masculine or feminine by choice. This has nothing to do with the complex, screwed up stuff in relationships on earth between people who don't know who they are. This is pure being. Everything else follows in supposed opposites. In the hue, when we merge into it, the supposed opposites cease to be opposing forces. The yin and yang, positive and negative, circles around each other. And the white golden light circles it. And then we manifest things without repercussions in space, time. No karma, no maya, no illusion. This is how we bring that to an end. All that's required is respecting the work, respecting the hue, and respecting all life. That's it. That is the key that opens the doors into eternity, or back into it, I should say. These hues connect a portal between here, bypasses the lower planes, goes through the void, and into Satnam's fountain. It goes up the fountain and into the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. It goes up portals there, higher up into the higher planes, into the realm of Agam Purusha, another being you'll get to know. and then into the ocean of sound and light itself. Source, prime creator. There are levels beyond this. One where the silent mentors run, and one above that called the Hue expansion ray plane. These were brought into creation fairly recently in the higher realities above the void. It has everything to do with why this is being done now, this work. This energy coming from Torellian's thumbs up in his hands starts to move around us. It creates an energy that flows in a clockwise direction like luminous water. It's a golden light with a blue-green sheen to it. And then it moves us through space far beyond the moon until we come to suddenly hover above a planet. That is located where you would call constellation of Lyra, I think it is, but it's in what the area of the Pleiades, which is 7 stars people can see with the naked eye from Earth. Big, young, blue, giant stars. There are many more than 7. Thousands, even millions of stars behind there. Nerexlum's located way past those 7 stars in that direction. When you hover above it, there are 3 continents centered over the equator. No polar ice caps. It is a large world like many out beyond Earth, 4 times bigger than Earth. 3 suns, 3 moons the size of Earth circling it. There are many, many solar systems like this. Scientists on Earth today know, astrophysicists and astronomers know, from deep space telemetry, Hubble telescope, and other more advanced equipment, that most of the suns in our galaxy, in the physical universe, are binary or trinary. That means 2 or 3 suns, big one in the center, slightly smaller one further out, could be bigger, depends on its structure, and a smaller one or even a larger one further out than that orbit a central sun. The planets revolve around those. The nearest star to our solar system is a binary sun system, not one sun. This has a different effect upon human life on those worlds, and they're far more advanced because of it. Earth's moon does not even turn on its axis. Back in the solar system where Earth is, it doesn't turn on its axis at all. It circles the planet without moving. Technically, that's impossible. The gravity of Earth, the sun, the other planets would have it doing something. Something happened to our moon that made it barren. It has effect on the water on the planet and the water in human bodies that is not natural. That has to be corrected, and that is underway. Out here in Nerexlum, you don't see polar ice caps. The temperature around the planet is generally the same. Cities there, what you would call metropolises, are small, very elegant. People don't live in cities there. Coming down into the atmosphere, this pale blue, slightly violet atmosphere, and as you come down into it, you realize that the water molecules in the air are glowing. We're moving down through this body form that looks human and the Atma above it. You're getting this sensation through this form that looks human. You can smell, taste, touch, hear, everything is being transmitted through this energy form to the core of your being, the Atma. And we're coming down into the central continent, into a central city that's built like a spiral of a galaxy. It has a big meeting dome and spires like thin pyramid shapes, blue glass-like, and in a number of other rectangular structures with parks and waterways and waterfalls all throughout it. These are laboratories and research centers on Nerexlum, the planet I came from. Before this stuck life that I had to wake up and get out of, so to speak. People are teleported there from their homes. Their homes, a minimum, have 20 acres around each one. There is no congested people living on top of each other. They live out in the entire planet, all over its surface. They do not overpopulate their world, nor does any world in the Galactic Alliance. 450 million of them. They teleport through devices from their home to devices by and around this central governing complex. Beings work in science and laboratories and historical. They research things. They work on greater anti-gravitic travel. They study doorways, parallel dimensions, doorways between planes that were put there in the beginning of creation. The Galactic Alliance did not create them. More advanced ships can create their own doorways to travel through to get around the universe. But natural doorways exist throughout the entire creation. They just move up into them. Which means they had to know how to map them out and how to get to them, of course. We go down to a dome complex towards the coast, maybe 50 miles inland, to the west. And there's a 3 geodesic dome complex there. And in the distance, giant trees like redwoods, but a mile high, at the base of gigantic mountains that have a blue-gray stone-like character to them. These trees are massive. The branches are bigger than the biggest redwood tree on Earth. And there is a city built with walkways between domes that are located in the branches, circling all the way up to the top canopy of these trees. People live there too. The 3 geodesic dome I'm showing you is my home. Big domes. Triangular garden in the middle, it's an organic kind of garden. And beautiful landscape terrain all around up to the forests. Another 20 acres away is another person's home. Another 20 acres in the other direction is another person's home. The other way, south, another person's home. People do not have to pay for the right to be born on a planet in the Galactic Alliance. There is no tax structure. Corrupt politicians are not elected to office. Their most advanced master teachers run those governments. And they interrelate with 450 million other world spacefaring races. This is some of the stuff people on Earth need to wake up to if they ever expect to play among the stars. So I brought you here because now you're out in space. And you are now hovering above a mile-long cylindrical blue-gray metal craft that is stationary in the ice rings, which is frozen water, that make up the rings about 1.5 miles thick that circle the gas giant planet Saturn in our solar system. We've come 500 light years from Nerexlum to here. In fact, more than 500 light years. In terms of what people think of the speed of light on Earth, where they say, oh, it's 286,000 miles a second. No, it's not. That's just what human eyes on Earth determined it moved at through physical eyes. There is no limit to the speed of light. So they make up this stuff, ultraviolet, infrared, X-ray, and all this stuff. It's still just one power, operating on different frequencies. People on Earth believe the distance of the speed of light is so great people can't visit us from other worlds. Well, it'll take them forever to get here. That's just their limited thinking, their misunderstanding of light altogether. When we allow the hue to flow through us out here, it teaches us by direct experience. It teaches us that we are light and sound. We are made of the primary omnipresent energy that supports the entire thing. And we can move on that energy, which has no limits like the speed of light. It just doesn't. And neither do we. The next instant, we are hovering above Saturn, looking down on this ship. We still have those 12 ships hovering around the circle of beings around us with Torelling in the center. They moved with us, transported instantly from one location to another. They cannot go where we're going next. When you look up and you see Satnam standing up there, and he points upward, and there's a vortex made of a golden white light that looks like an hourglass. It's a blue-green water-like light flowing around it, and it's a huge opening, and on the other end of it, way up high, you can see what looks like a pale blue light. No distinct any images of anything there. The top silent one has already gone up, and you see Satnam receding up inside this vortex, and then Torellian and all of us go up right behind him inside this vortex, and we reach the center of it and stop to look through the transparent energy whirling around us. You can see levels of galaxies from that midpoint in that funnel of light. Levels of dimensionality. The Atma can see this. We appear, all of us around Torellian, including the man and women that come with you, we appear like the size of a button compared to the size of a dinner plate. It's a very wide opening. And then we shoot upward. We find ourselves speeding upward through a pale blue luminous void. There's nothing here. There's no forms or buildings or structures. And then that vortex below us vanishes, and we are in the distance in this omnipresent, vast void, speeding ever upward through it. The sound coming from in the distance is like the single note of a flute humming a beautiful, hauntingly beautiful melody. And we're drawn upward. You can see Satnam recede in the distance. There are beings in the void, but they're usually never experienced by beings traveling through it. That is for another journey. Then you see a white light in the distance that's growing larger. And as we approach it, we begin to see that it is a white luminous beach glowing a foot above the sand. And it stretches as far to the left and right as you can see, and way in the distance starts to curve, as if this is a circular landmass floating in some gigantic blue void. It is actually the end of the void we're approaching. And you see Satnam hover down. The Atma's hovering above him. It's bigger than us. He puts his feet in this sand and wiggles his toes in the luminous glowing particles. We come down, Torellian sitting right offshore as if he's standing in ocean water, up to his knees, but he's not. It's not water. The trees in the jungle are like fruit trees and exotic palm trees, but they're transparent. They have energy moving up and down these transparent trunks. They are alive. So we find ourselves standing on this beach in a line. It's curved slightly in the distance. Satnam picks up a handful of this luminous sand, fine particles. They look like polished diamonds. They go into your energy of your human-like hand, up through the top of your head, into the white core of your being, and brighten up the layers, turning some shut-down faculties on in the process. And then Satnam levitates up and goes over the top of the jungle, and we follow him. We are followed by dozens of male and female birds about a foot long that have feathers like thousands of rainbow colors across them. 2 sets of bird wings like a hummingbird, but or like a dragonfly. They look kind of like a blue jay with big blue eyes. And they're speaking with us. There is an Atma hovering above these forms. These are not birds on earth. Very advanced masterful beings are running these forms because they like it. They're showing us some of the life that exists out there that must be respected. These birds, men and women, male and female, begin to sing with beautiful, perfect singing voices, the hue on many levels. And then they vanish into the trees, kind of a greeting. We come to hover and look down. In the distance, you can see a long snow-covered mountain range from the southern point at a diagonal off into the distance. And you look down, there's a clearing. And there's a white marble-like stone floor about 100 feet across, and a fountain sitting in the middle of it. There is a white marble flat seat that circles around the outer circumference of this fountain. It has scalloped edges like an abalone shell. There's a square pedestal in it, and a statue of Satnam is standing in it. And he's hovering beside the statue, pointing to it. It's a device. It is a doorway. A shaft of white golden light is coming down through the top of this statue's head. White as the shoulders, flowing out the open palms of this statue's hands, which are at its side. It flows through the hands, fills this bowl in a glowing golden white sheet of hue that drops over the edge of this and disappears in the ground behind the circular flat white marble seat. There are 12 intricately carved, curled legs that support this. The energy coming down into the fountain comes from worlds far above the Atma plane, which is where we are, where dwells Satnam. The first realm of pure positive energy above the void. There is no such thing as gaining back freedom as an Atma without remembering or coming here. That's not possible. You can't get positive results from negative energy. Certainly not in the atmosphere that surrounds Earth. We have to go somewhere where such things do not exist and then bring it back with us. You could call it a kind of an ascension, but it works both ways. As above, so below. As below, so above. And we're meant to have freedom to move through all of it without fear or doubt or hesitation. We're going to move up into that fountain, into the energy above it. Trillian goes first, Satnam's remaining behind here, and he's waving at us. We get permission to go further, past his realm. So we're moving up in a circle of beings into this shaft of light, and we're shot up quickly. And on the other end of this shaft of light, we see what appears to be a huge circular floating landmass in a brilliant cobalt blue atmosphere, floating in this infinite void. The white golden light of the hue is behind the blue energy of this atmosphere. You can see it vibrating there. And we're on the other side of it looking down at this vortex, and you can see Satnam's fountain down through the bottom of it. He's hovering beside the fountain, then it vanishes. We are now in a parallel dimension created specifically for a purpose between the fifth realm, Satnam's realm, and the sixth realm. There are many realms above here. There are no moons or suns or stars or planets here. They are unnecessary. Each one of us is radiating a light. the beach that surrounds this floating landmass is much brighter white sand than Satnam's realm. There appears to be an ocean wave curling around the entire circumference of this huge, huge floating landmass. And it just charges the land with the hue, because the energy that surrounds this entire place below and above and surrounding it also surrounds us. Terrellian is standing just offshore of this white luminous beach, and he asks us to go down and stand in it. This is your human energy body that can feel and taste and touch and see and smell and all that. You pick up the sand that goes in your arm, up the top of your head into the white core of your being, and brightens it further, turning on several other higher faculties you haven't used in billions of years. This is a gift. And we're hovering over the center of this landmass, inland, a great distance. And when you look down, you see 6 snow-covered mountain peaks in a circle. The beach is way, way off in the distance. And down in the land in between these 6 mountains is a tower. The blue glass-like transparent tower, the Hue Administration Tower for the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, that was moved. It used to be off-center at the western mountain. It's been moved to the center. There is a blue-green luminous lake that surrounds it, humming the sound of the hue. Everything here has is lit up a foot above it, like it's luminous, including us. Inside the tower at the base, you can see this pedestal that's been described before, 4 foot high, like a lapis lazuli stone. And there's a 4 foot in diameter crystal sphere, transparent, blue-like glass, hovering there above this pedestal with a radiant cobalt blue star in the center of it, and a shaft of white golden light coming down into it from higher realities. The Hue Expansion Ray Academy Tower has been moved to the center of this landmass at the base of the 6 surrounding mountains, because it increases the energy coming into the lower planes, into Earth. It would have been too much for Earth people prior to the last few weeks when this was done. Everything's centered here now. There's a shaft of white golden light, the hue, humming here, that comes down into the top of this tall tower with an oval center about 2/3 of the way up for it. There's a fountain in it too, but there's no statue of Satnam here. And then it goes up to a minaret point. The purpose of our being here is to experience how this facility teaches. The beings who have come here are one of many that work here. Come from all the lower planes of time and space, from billions of worlds. A select few actually volunteer to work here. Looking down on this huge floating landmass, we can see there are roadways that extend just on the shore of the blue-green lake that surrounds the tower. And they go into oval tunnels in every direction into the base of these mountains, which are all connected. They come out the other side of the mountain and run as true and straight as perfect to the beach, like spokes of a bicycle tire. And down each roadway, like the western roadway, there are turns to the right and turns to the left, and turns to the right and turns to the left. Dozens of teaching facilities on each side in clearings. And this exists all over the entire Hue Expansion Ray Academy. We're going to move down and stand on that roadway just on the edge of the western roadway as it exits the western mountain. The U expansion ray tower used to be here. Now it's in the center. We're going to turn right into a clearing. The clearing is circular. Beautiful gardens, 4-foot-high flowering plants, everything luminous here. And there's a huge 4-sided, golden-sided pyramid, much bigger than the one in Egypt, with a quartz top. And there's a shaft of white golden light coming down into it. And at the base, in the center of one face facing us, there's a little blue marble floor with white stones going towards this circular, kind of a circular opening, split in half, made of a blue glass-like luminous light. And it opens into the walls of the side of the pyramid. And out steps a little man, about 5'5". Maybe 4, you can't tell how old he is. He's ancient. He has a little maroon robe on, like Chinese robe with symbols on, esoteric symbols, and a little hat, and a little Fu Manchu type beard. And he greets us with his hand up. This being is known as Lai Tzu, not Lao Tse or Lao Tzu, Lai Tzu. He is an extraordinary master teacher. He has a body in just one other plane below here, in the etheric plane, below the void. He teaches in a wisdom temple there, mostly to encourage people to have the courage to go over the void and go home, and they don't do it. He's volunteered to be the instructor in this, what is in this pyramid here. So he walks in through the opening and we follow him. Turellian too. He just shrinks down to 6 feet and walks through with us. That's no problem for him. Remember, the Atma's hovering above all of us, going through this opening. The body form is so you can feel and taste and feel and sense everything that's going on here, which is communicated back to the core of your being, which is not matter, energy, space, and time. And inside this pyramid is a golden floor at the base, square, about 1 foot thick, glowing gold quartz light, just glowing, radiating, and it's humming under your bare feet. It's exhilarating and uplifting. It makes the white core of your being brighten just walking in here. In the distance, in the center of this floor, is a massive silver tree. It's like mile high inside this pyramid. The branches come out evenly all around it and go up to a point near the very inner apex of the inside of the pyramid. The needles on the tree are transparent. They're silver. And all of you go up and look into one needle on one branch near the outer lower branches and see a planet in this little needle. When you get used to using this, you can look at any planet anywhere in the lower planes of time and space and instantly be transported there to experience something as the Atma, with the consciousness of the Atma. And then you bring it back here to help share new ways of co-creating, new ways to do things with others who work here. That is our purpose. In the trunk of this tree is this powerful white golden light rushing up and down it. It is called the tree of life. And it connects to a much bigger tree, many dimensions above here, in the realm of a being called Agam Parusha. This being, this mighty friend, wields the raw power of creation from the ocean of sound and light and higher, and regulates it down into the lower planes. His presence is in all of us as the omnipresent hue. This being is massive. He's like a silent mentor, but bigger. The first thing I did when I met him, going up through this tree, is befriend him. Because nobody would. They're scared of him. We're going up into that branch of that tree. We find ourselves shooting right up the trunk. And we come out into a realm so brilliant, you have to cover your eyes. It's so bright until you can get used to it. The sound is like millions of orchestras playing a beautiful music all at once. And this being approaches everything around us, this gargoyles and energies moving and all the colors of the rainbow. disappearing and forming new forms, and it would scare the death out of you, except that you're not harmed. There's nobody threatening you here. You can't bring any fear here or negative nature. So we're just calm. And this being approaches us. We are these little Atmas hovering above these physical forms. Do yourself a favor in eternity. Ask if he would accept your friendship, because it's very rarely ever done. The next stop above this realm, above this big tree of life, you can see a tree in the distance. It is many hundreds of miles tall. The roots go down into this moving energy and go up out of sight. The next realm above here is the ocean of sound and light itself, source, prime creator. So we're going to go into that tree from here because he's going to allow us to. When we go up into that tree and we're shot upward, we come out into a field of energy so vast. It's bigger than all the galaxies and all the devils of all the dimensions below here. And it looks like we're in an even brighter cobalt blue atmosphere. And surrounding the center of this island are beings. It looks like the stars in a galaxy circling around the center. The hum coming from the center cannot be described in human terms. And we are moving between these beings that are revolving around this center. And then we come to an island in a void in the center. It's a white island. And there is a being floating in the center of it. Looks like the Atma on the front of the Emerald Doorway book. But it's way, way larger. Many more layers in it than, say, a silent mentor or even Agam Purusha. And we can hear it speak with us because we're going to stand on that island. And the Atmas are going to move past these physical forms inside the center nucleus of the white core of Prime Creator. And then it will speak to each one of you. It is not an individual like us. It is a presence of all Atmas connected together that creates a type of a being that welcomes you here. We cannot stay here for long. It's too far removed from Earth. Your physical bodies would perish. So we leave this place and find ourselves standing on the western shore, on the western roadway of the Hugh Expansion Re-Academy. Turellian is offshore, floating around in this moving, beautiful blue water-like energy. And we go out and join him in a circle around him, just like we started. There are no ships here around us. They can't be brought here. Just us. And Ramu, and Opelum, and Etta, and Din, Light Sea, each one of you, myself, Pari. Other master teachers, men and women, the men and women beside you are here. They take turns teaching in facilities in this Hugh Expansion Re-Academy. There's no negative nature here. You can't bring anything with you of that nature. And then we move down. It's like a drain opening up and going down. And we just move down through it in a blue golden energy. And we find ourselves suddenly hovering in a circle around Turellian near the planet Earth with its polar ice caps and its barren moon and sun. We are in the hue in space. But we've brought with us a much higher form of it. It was not described, but understand that when we moved down that funnel, we went through the physical form you have running on the etheric plane below the void, which is transparent, to the mental plane where all thought is instantaneous in manifesting, to the causal plane where the understanding of cause and effect is mastered, to the astral plane where emotion, all emotion comes from there, from the life you're living there. We're moving this through those forms and down through your physical body. You're hovering above your physical body with this man and woman still beside you. All three of you are Atmas. There's a brighter glow to who you are. It moves through you consistently from the ceiling, for your benefit and then goes out through the earth to 3 pyramids located in the 2 on the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans. They have a fountain of Satnam in them. They do a certain thing. They're devices. And 1 in the Himalayas in a mountain in a hollowed out interior. It connects to those and then goes out through the planet, out into space, and connects to pyramids that have been placed between stars in our galaxy. Then it goes to the central core of the galaxy and up the white luminous axis, which is not a black hole. That's only human eyes that can't see it. And it goes back to the source where we just were. It never stops moving. It moves through us for our benefit and on its way through us for the benefit of others. When you know this, open your eyes. That's a bit different of a journey than we've had before.
That was great, Jenny.
It's not something that can be reversed, so don't even kid yourself into thinking that's possible. What you know now cannot be reversed. This is a good thing. You still have to live on Earth and carry the bucket of water up the hill or get it from the well, go to the store and go to restaurants and all that stuff. But when you're in a restaurant the next time, reflect a little bit on this journey and look around you. And have kindness towards the fellow beings on earth that know nothing. Because it will flow through you for their benefit. You do not have to determine what it will do with them. It knows what to do with them and when. Just let it pass through you. Co-create with it. This will be to your great benefit. Any questions now that we're back? It's a very intimate group. There's only a few of us, so now's the time. Go right ahead, Kwan. You got to turn your mic on.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Scott and Pari. Actually, before asking the question, I do have 2 questions here. But before asking the question, I would like to express my gratitude to you and to Pari for this work, because I know that it's not for your effortless help to us on the planet Earth. I know that it's not easy and it has been very fatigued and tiring a lot. But yeah.
And very good. And very good also.
Yes. And for this journey, I feel great to know that we are one of the boots on the ground to help the planet Earth, and very impressive to hear that we, for this disclosure, we will help bring heaven to the planet.
Well, I wouldn't call it heaven. Let's just call it. Let's just say we'll bring normal to the planet.
Okay.
Because what you would call heaven and beings on other worlds, even out in our galaxy, you don't know about yet. To them, that's just normal. Understand this. If a man and a woman got in a spaceship, got out of a spaceship and landed in your backyard right now, you would probably run in terror. You might not now, because you have some control of the primary implant, which would make your body turn and run in terror. And you'd want to go meet them. But you have to understand that these fears, these subconscious things, have to first be neutralized before you can meet with beings like this. Because your nature would not be to put them on a pedestal. It would be to respect them as they already respect you. This may or may not be difficult for you to understand yet or accept. But I can tell you, in the next few days and weeks, you're going to notice some changes. Because your awareness is not the same as it was. This is good. And this is permanent. It only goes one way now, onward and upward. Anybody else have any other questions of any kind?
Yes. First of all, okay, I would like to a big thanks send to you and Kun Pari and all the master being and all being. And what was touching, I was touching a lot today is at one point you talk about that I have to decide about the revenge that before we
Yes.
travel, make our journey, start our journey, I should leave that behind. I just think really that I just think, okay, maybe I can just revenge a bit and then go on. But then you just said, no, I have to decide right now and let it go. I said,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Then
You know,
just do it. And then I feel
that's
more
it.
like light.
Yeah.
I feel lighter and okay, we can move on. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
For reminding me.
I want to thank all of you personally because we need boots on the ground. I don't place myself above any of you. I'm not. Doesn't matter what planet I'm from or what dimension or what I know in the upper realities and what I do there because I am stationed in the U Expansion Ray Academy 24 hours a day. I never leave. It's other forms I run the Atma through like this one that does this work, but I'm still there. I'm always there. Once something is brought into creation that you bring back home with this right attitude to give something back instead of just take, everybody gets involved up there when that happens. It can change the entire creation. And we have a responsibility to help do that. Or just sit on our ass and complain and bitch about it forever. It won't change anything. Journeys like this can change everything. And you get to be part of it. So I'm grateful for all of you as well. Pretty cool. Any questions?
I still have one remaining question about primary implant because right now we are working on you are helping us for removing the secondary implant and for primary implant I right now can we remove the primary implant or we just have to try to control the
Okay,
primary
I will be very clear about this so you all know. The primary implant cannot be completely removed on Earth now. It cannot be removed on Earth by anyone, no matter what they tell you. It is way beyond their skill sets, way beyond their understanding. I don't remove implants. I let Galactic Alliance personnel that were never born on this Earth, never had an implant, do not have a subconscious mind at all. They do that work. I guide people to it. That's my job, to visually share it with people. The primary implant is something that happened to everyone, including me and Pari and all of you. Or you're killed and put on this earth, stuffed in a body without your permission and made to forget everything. This was not some God's will. This was the fact that at one point or another, despite how evolved you were long ago, you were vulnerable. Why? What's taking place in these journeys is to make you non-vulnerable. So that kind of thing can never happen to you again. This is very important. The tyrants who were here doing this in small number for a time were removed from this solar system and this planet 25 years ago. People in the disclosure community still don't understand this. They're still talking about cow mutilations and little abductions by grace. There's been no new experiences of abductions by grace for 25 years. The negative effects subconsciously are still in people. This is what needs to be dropped. And you know it. Yes? So the primary implant, when you co-create this, each of you co-creates this. You have help from other beings. They were introduced to you tonight in other journeys. When you're ready, you will co-create with the source energy, being in a white chair and seeing what's in that primary implant. You will be safe and surrounded by beings that know exactly what they're doing. They are not from Earth. And it won't take place on this Earth. That kind of thing can take place technically and spiritually when this planet is one and part of the Galactic Alliance. Then it can all be brought here. Or at least it's at the beginning stages of that. Then it can be brought here and openly given to everyone. In the meantime, you have the opportunity to see what's in that. It takes courage. You all have that. Plenty of courage to look and see what was that put you on this earth terrified to remember. When you see it, it becomes a memory only. It can no longer affect you. Doesn't need to be removed. You just need to know what's in it. I went through this very same process. It is described in the Sayre's Agenda book. Mark Sandfield and Janice Carter went through this. Terrified. If the beings who were with them hadn't helped them, they would have died trying to do it. They could not have succeeded. That's because we need the help of the greater God out in the universe to get through this infantile stage that humans on Earth are in order to survive this transition. It must come from outside this Earth. People on Earth in mass are not awake enough to stop from destroying themselves on their own. Fortunately, we are not alone. We never were. As more people become aware of this, this planet will improve in ways you can't imagine. Does that answer that question?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You will create the looking at, and I will maybe be able to help some of you go look in the primary implant. Pari and I will talk about that. Because we're trying things that have never been done before. The only reason that I backed away from doing hundreds and hundreds of these one-on-one secondary implant journeys is because it became too taxing. It's not possible for one being to spend an hour and a half with each individual times 10,000 times 10 million. It's not possible. The group journeys are the only way we can reach many more people and they all get the same benefit. I don't know what form a group-guided secondary implant removal journey will take yet. Because understand, I will not be able to take a person into 3 past lives that were wondrous and reveal them to them and have beings get rid of that implant, that negative secondary implant stuff, which is what they are now. There's a few people that are fortunate enough to go on them now, and because we're backing away from them. Otherwise, we can't embrace more people. It's just not possible to reach very many people one-on-one. There's not enough time in a lifetime, 10 lifetimes to do that. So, what you need to know is that a man and a woman, not from Earth, very, very masterful, are assigned to each person. It's taken a long time to get billions of beings from other worlds together, if you can imagine this, to work with each person one-on-one. They got to guide you every night until you're ready. How else do you expect to do it? Jump from not knowing any of it right into the ocean of sound and light out of nowhere? You wouldn't have any comprehension of it. You wouldn't be able to bring back the awareness of it to Earth. You can now because your IQ, your intelligence is much higher than it was. The fact that you can comprehend what I'm sharing with you is perfect example of this. Because your fellow beings around you couldn't comprehend this to save their lives. Don't make any mistake about it. They can't. I do not remove the implants. People that claim they do on Earth are making a serious mistake in judgment because they have subconscious minds. This has to be done by beings who are qualified to do it. Not in Earth's atmosphere. Not at this time. Do you all understand this? It's important. It's important because the training, the kind of initiations, if you will, the kind of things that have to happen in an individual's life, such as mine, over the course of this entire lifetime. If I tried to tell you what I went through and survived, you wouldn't believe it. And you wouldn't have survived it. It took something extraordinary, and I had lots of help to recover what was done to me first. I had no one to help me. Nobody on Earth guiding me. I was alone most of this life. If you can respect that, you will understand more about how to respect life out in the universe. They are respectable. And they respect you. Isn't that good enough? For now? They respect each one of you already. Respecting yourself, that's another issue. You got to drop the baggage of revenge and hatred and anger, and then it just falls into place. Okay? Any other questions at all? Poom, how
Let
about
me
anybody? Go, Pari, go ahead.
I just want to say we are always welcome more boots on the ground. So next group journey in English will be on the third Sunday, third in Thailand time. But whoever have friends in other countries can always join us as well. You can always share with your friends.
Well, we're also working on expanding English journeys in the United States. You know what's odd? I want to share this with all of you. Thai people are pretty special. I didn't know it. You know why? You guys have had courage beyond implants to come into these journeys practically with just a little preparation, well, more than little. And you were the first to come forward in this because of Pari too. The US people, as intelligent and as advanced as they are the most reluctant to step forward. There's a person contacted me, been following this work for 6 years, and he finally contacted me. It just starts where it starts and moves around the world. We want to get this book done in Thai, the Savior's Agenda. We're working on it right now. It's very difficult. It's a challenge. We want to get it in Japanese. Japanese will go nuts over this work, because screenplays for motion pictures have already been written for these books, all 4 of them. So there is a plan afoot to move this forward. It cannot be done by me alone, that's for sure. And many more people, as they awaken, will come out of the woodwork to contribute to their own recovery through this work, which is what really happens. You're really contributing to your own recovery. I think that's pretty cool. I think so. You have the freedom to choose. Whenever you get in trouble and you feel fear of the present or future, all you have to do now is respect the beings that you met on this journey, ask for their assistance, send the hue into the troubled, imagined fear of the present and future, and go look at a waterfall, go look at a hummingbird, go look at the stars. Just forget about it. And you're going to find that primary implant will just turn off. You must experience it for yourself to know. So I wish you all well. I would say, if you can, play this journey back again in a couple days. When you don't have a phone on, you've had some tea or breakfast, went out to eat something nice, treat yourself well, and then play it back, and you're going to find a lot happened on this journey you don't remember right now. The second time around, you'll remember all of it. Every night, send out the hue, 5 minutes, and ask for help from these beings to help you when you're out of your body at night. And if you're sincere and you're respectful, they will help you. Pretty simple stuff. I'm glad your brother, did you call him your brother, Poom, is here?
Yeah, he's here. Oh yeah, I also have one thing to talk to you.
Sure, you bet. Go ahead.
Earlier, the first time I came here, you told me that watch for a few days after my first time, and it's a bit of a comedy here. So
Right, it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the few days you told me, they actually like I feel like the whole world is on me. Like it's a lot of things happen after that day. A lot of things, bad and good. They kept bitching on me. I say, like a lot of challenge. I say the good and the bad. But let's say
That's good.
let's say I learned to manage it. There are things I feared a lot.
That's the point. Yep, that's good.
Yeah, that's the point. Old things came back, and I feel like, oh, that's kind of scary. But somehow I managed to better, to deal with it better than how I used to do it. So I feel like, oh, maybe this is supposed to happen to develop myself to the to at this very point, and it just keep going on for so many days.
You're right, because you are on a path in the hue, returning home after billions of years, and this is a path of mastery. It's not the path of a student, as people think of it on earth. It is the path of you attaining mastery. This means having the direct awareness of what you are as the Atma, not a body, and your relationship with the source and its purpose. These are the two key things that wake up in a person. And as you gain back confidence and you're free from these implants and their influences, you also gain back a higher IQ, a much greater intelligence innately starts to awaken in you to be able to comprehend this stuff that you were never taught on earth in this life. This is pretty miraculous. This is what, and I want to thank you for sharing that, because some of it's not easy to deal with, but you're getting better at it.
Yeah, let's be honest. The first few days was very exhausting for me. Like, it really drained me out.
How
a
are you
lot.
now? How are you now?
Let's say of all days before today, there's this one biggest problem I just met a few days ago, a few weeks ago, I'd say. Yeah, I feel a lot better now, but there's still more challenges coming on. But it's all on me.
May I suggest something?
Yes.
Okay, when these come up, instead of dwelling in them to solve them, go into the hue, breathe deeply.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. And then let go of the solution. As you're finding it will solve itself. It might be challenging for you with a primary implant still affecting you. But if it turns on, which makes you afraid of the present and future, which is the challenge, you can turn it off now just by putting your attention on something else. You're going to find it works, but it takes discipline to do it.
Right. That'll help me. I mean, I try to do that, so it keeps getting better, I'd say.
Also, if you get in trouble, go to my website at paralleltime.com, and at the top link it says About Scott Hugh. Pull it down and play the recording of my voice sending out the hue in 3-part harmony. It's looped for 24 minutes. Continuous beam of energy is running through it. Ambassador Terrellian put that in that recording. I didn't record it. It hums. That will help you if you get into any trouble. Just go and play it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything.
Right. I'll try. Didn't try it before.
Well, it won't hurt to try it.
Yeah.
You all know parallel time is PAR. In fact, I can put it in a little chat thing here, probably. It's like this.
You also can click on the link under the videos because you always show that.
Yeah, but it's just that.
Okay.
And to everyone. I guess that's how you do it, huh? Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then, if any of you know how to go to my YouTube channel, you should go there. Because this recording will be live there. And you can watch it all the way through a second time. It'll be on Pari's YouTube channel too. There's no charge for a cost for it. And you're going to be sent this too by Pari to download to your own computer. That's cool too. Okay. All right. At the paralleltime.com website, when you go there, up in the right is now a link that says Lemriel's YouTube channel. Right above the one where you can change the languages, and it goes right to the YouTube channel. You just click that on and you're right there. You don't even have to find it. And then you'll see this up there because I'll upload it tonight. Okay? Then I'm going to bring this journey to a close.